get your body's pattern ready. This is mine. Now on the shoulder line, I'm going to come in from the shoulder tip by 1 1/4 inch. And now I'm going to extend the shoulder line outward by the same amount, 1 1/4 inch. Now from the neck line, I'll come down by 1.5 inches. Now this point and this point, I'm going to connect it with a curved line, and please don't allow your curved line to be as deep as mine. Mine is too deep. Yes, this is actually too deep, so don't let it be this deep. Okay, now from this point I'll come down to the underarm seam line. Okay, and I'm going to divide. I'll take the measurement, just place your tape this way and divide it by 3. Now this is 1/3 of it, so just note the point and square a line from the bust point towards the peak of the bust. That is about 1.5 inches. So from this point I will just go up now. I'm squaring up with a straight line to the 1/3 of the armhole depth. Okay, now from this very point I'm going to connect to the extension. Now this is what I have. Okay, now from this point, from the waist dart, I'm going to go up by 1/2 inch from the line I drew earlier, so that I can connect my waist dart up to that point. Okay, so the line I'm going to draw here is going to be higher by 1/2 inch. Okay, so this point and this point I'm going to connect together, and this curved line is shouldn't be as deep as the first one. Okay, the first one is deep, you can see how it looks, and this line, this second curved line, should not be as deep as the first one. Okay, so can you see what I have? Now I am cutting it. Please ensure you subscribe to this channel and like my videos as well. The more you like, the more other people get to see the video. And follow me on Instagram, Thydee Patterns, Facebook, Thydee Patterns, on Pinterest as well, all my social media platforms, Thydee Patterns. All right, so right now I will be transferring the waist darts to my style lines. Okay, so the first lines I drew, connecting to the shoulder, they are called style lines because I'm trying to create some designs here, so I needed to draw my style lines. Okay, so right now I am going to connect all my dots to the upper parts. Okay, and of course you already know that without opening one dot you cannot close or open the other. You understand what I mean? So I needed to open the waist so that I can transfer from the waist to the shoulder parts or the shoulder area. So you can see both the upper part and the lower part are both opened. Okay, now I can close up the one on the waistline to have the upper part opened, so that you can see now the dart on the waistline has been moved or transferred to the upper part. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here as well. All right, I have all the darts, the waist darts, the bust darts have been moved from the original location to a new location. Okay, so now there is a need for me to place it on another paper as shown. Okay, then I can now add my seam allowance. Here I'm going to have half an inch, and here 0.25, which is quarter of an inch. And here as well I'm going to have 0.25 up to this point. Don't forget, this point is my shoulder, my armhole curve line. Okay, now here I'm going to go up from the bust point or bust line by 1 inch. Okay, now you can start your seam or your stitch from this point when you are trying to sew it. Okay, so now you can see that I've added my seam allowance. You can see, look at my new point now. This, I was trying to add half an inch, so by the time I got to this point, it's not up to 1 inch anymore. It's about 0.9. So I just moved this. I couldn't go down anymore. That's why the pointed part is a bit higher than where it was before. You can see it. So you can also start your stitches from this point, or you start from 1 inch above the bust line. So you can do it in 2 ways. Okay, so you can see that half an inch seam allowance can be added when you're going down, so it has to go up before the half an inch can be added, and that's why the point or the sharp point is there. Okay, so you can see here you have to make sure it matches. All right, this point and this point. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, so just ensure you add your seam allowances accordingly. All right. So in this, you need to take your time because you could be confused by the time you're adding seam allowance, so you need to really take your time, when you're adding the seam allowance. So you can see this sharp point here. Okay, you can see the sharp point here. Your stitch can start from there, or you make your stitch to start from 1 inch above the bust line. So it's in 2 ways. The most important thing is that you are the panels are connected. Okay, so that is the most important thing, because you need to get the whole front panel together. Okay, so you can see this is what I have, and it's looking so lovely. So by the time you try it fine, you will discover what I'm trying to say. My back pattern is without shoulder dart. I actually removed it, but you can keep it if you want. You can. Okay, it's possible, you can keep it. All right. So now I am going to extend my shoulder line just the way I did on the front pattern, and this is going to be by 1¼ inch. So using this as a guide, you can see my armhole curve line. You can see, so what you need to do here, you can measure here to this point and transfer to this point. Okay, transfer to this point and measure, or you just simply place your tape, just to take the measurement from the tip of the shoulder down to the underarm. Then you divide by 3, just the way you did on the front pattern. So it's either ways. Okay, it's either ways. So this point now, this is the 1/3 of it. So you connect it this way, or you connect it the other way. Just transfer the measurement on the armhole on the front pattern to the back. Then you have this. You can see, so you can do it this way or you do it this way. So just try it. Okay, you can do your practicals to discover which is better. Okay, any one of the two could be okay, but I'm sure one would be preferable. All right, so this is what I have, and I can now trim out. This is actually very simple. Pattern making, it's a kind of flexible thing. You can just play around with it and try new methods. Okay, all right, you can see this is what I have. So now I am going to come in. Of course, I ought to have done that before now. I'll come in by 1/4 inch from the shoulder tip, original shoulder tip, just the way I did on the front panel. Then I mark. All right, you can see. So from here, from the neckline, I can come down by 1 inch or come down by 1/2 inch. So this actually depends on you. So just for tutorial purpose, I will come down by 1/2 inch. Okay, I think it's 1 inch. Okay, so you can come down by half an inch like I said, or probably 1 inch, then you cut. So if you're keeping your dart, that means you need to fold in the dart before you cut the neckline. Okay, so then this point now you can now sew or stitch the dart. All right, it's time for me to show you how to draft your facing. The front pattern or panel is going to have a facing, and the back is also going to have a facing, and this is how you draw you draft your facing. This facing is called an all-in-one facing, so it's not a separate, separated kind of facing. Okay, so this is called all-in-one kind of facing. So you need to follow the curve accordingly. This is how you do it. And concerning for the front panel, you need to draft the front panel, the facing for the front panel before you open your slash lines. Okay, before you cut open your slash lines. This is very important. So because by the time you cut open your slash lines, you will not be able to draft your facing using the same pattern as a guide. All right, so this is how you stitch. You want to stitch it. So after adding your seam allowance this way, ensure every checkpoint match up, every important point come together accordingly. Okay, so I'm just assuming this is my fabric, so you just stitch from this point upward. So of course by the time you are making use of your fabric, it will be a bit easier. This is a paper. Okay, so then you can match up, ensure every important part match up, because we need to get together the whole of the front panel. Okay, so this is what you will do when you are stitching. Like I said, you can do it in 2 ways. 1 inch above the bust line, you can start your stitch from there, or the sharp point there, you start to stitch from there. So ensure this is also matched. You can see 1/4 of an inch like that by the time it comes together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.